Board of Supervisors meeting. And first we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any public comments?
We should start with the public hearing on the ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Okay.
Yeah, so what will happen is if anyone wants to provide a comment regarding the ordinance, we can have that, and we'll technically start a public hearing once Pam gets back. Although that clock sometimes. So what we'll say is at 6:34, we'll open a public hearing to discuss the ordinance regarding the fee in lieu of.
Okay.
And if anybody has any comments on the ordinance for fee in lieu of changes, we can have those now separately from the public comment for the regular meeting.
Sure.
Well, I don't necessarily have anything against the ordinance change. As a member of the Planning Commission, and I can't speak for all of the Planning Commission, we were not aware of the discussion about the ordinance change. And again, not that all ordinance changes have to necessarily come through Planning Commission. I feel like this is one that I would respectfully like the board to table for another meeting, so that the Planning Commission would actually have time to discuss this ordinance change. One concern that I do have with it is that it could set precedence if the intent is to use the rec fee in lieu, which currently is not usable to maintain this facility here, that it could set precedence that it continues to be used for this facility instead of other recreational opportunities in the township. So again, I would respectfully ask that this matter be tabled for at least another month so that it can be reviewed more.
By the Planning Commission. You
Yes.
want them to review it. For your thoughts?
I don't think that's necessary because we only changed 3 or 4 words in this. I don't see why it would be necessary to wait for another month.
I would have no problem letting them review it.
Review it.
Correct.
They just want to be certain that it's
Right.
not used
Okay.
in ways that maybe they would question.
Pardon me?
They might find ways that it could be used that would be questionable.
Sure.
Do we need a motion for that, David?
Well, first, are there any other comments on the ordinance? Okay. Yes, a motion would be.
I will make that motion that we table it for another month so the planning commission has a chance to review it.
Okay.
I will not second it.
I will second that.
No.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Carries with 2. So this will be put on the March agenda.
I think we should have a motion at 6:37 to close the public hearing.
I will make that motion.
Second here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now you can have public comments.
Okay. Do you have any public comments? Russ?
No, not on the ordinance.
Okay,
You're
just
still
in
on
general?
ordinance? Okay. In general, yes.
Sure. Step up. Thank you.
And for the record on Zoom, I'm Russ Schleiden, and CEO of Penske. I was going to wait, I suggested to Bam that I wait until your item 3 under the unfinished business on the Penske Road. However, she thought that I should make this a public statement. I hate to take up your time if you're going to cover it. I've been reviewing your tapes, by the way. I love the videotapes. And I was looking to see if, in fact, you all have discussed this publicly, reference the turnback and your work with PennDOT. Can you hear me all right through this thing?
Yes.
All right. And I didn't see, I saw in December, you mentioned about the Sarah Campbell and Penns Cave Road, but I didn't see any public comment as to what the offer was and so on and so forth. I try to do a little background on this. You know, Randy Elbert is the guy you're dealing with, but you know, he's not, I guess, at liberty to discuss what he's been discussing with you. But I did do some research in the area and within the state. I think you all know that PennDOT's trying to get rid of these smaller spurs that one time were important, but with the advent of all these additional roads, they're trying to get rid of that, and they're making very good offers to the township to take them over. And those offers, as I understand, talking to several of the other townships, have been pretty good, where they've had money left over, and we're able to use that money for other things, or keep it into their funds and gather interest on it. I understand that policy, however, with PennDOT is now going to end. They see that they've been paying too much. And so, am I right, Randy, so far? I don't want to step on his toes here, but I understand that that's what's happened. And so, in regard to the Penns Cave Road, where it ties into Sarah Campbell, that was discussed a long time ago, and it was the discussion went along the lines of do the Sarah Campbell. You all took it over, and I think you got a good deal there. But the additional road on Turnback was going to be discussed in good faith if PennDOT, in fact, made a decent offer to you. Now, when PennDOT talked to us, they wanted to straighten that road out a little bit coming off of Sarah Campbell, which meant that we would have to go along with the right-of-way. And we discussed it, and we said, all right, fine, if the township's taking it and you're going to straighten it out, then we would go along with the right-of-way at no cost. So we didn't want to negotiate. We didn't negotiate, am I right, on any funding. So I was just here this evening to more or less encourage you to take a very serious look at that. You have a fiduciary responsibility, and I respect that. I think, however, you probably would make a few bucks on this in the long run, which I think the taxpayers would be happy with. It doesn't affect us. We have the Sarah Campbell Road that took some of the traffic off. We were hoping that there'll be a turn back anyways. And as far as the locals being concerned about that, we're open for business all the time, and our employees have to come in. So it's not that we're going to close the road. What we would be doing on that portion of the road, just to kind of clear the areas, is put some speed bumps in it and drop it to 15 miles an hour for safety circuit. But it's not something that we're looking at closing. And so with that in the background, I think just from what I've been able to pick up through my sources, you might be picking up an extra $100,000 on this deal. So, and once that's gone, once this thing grandfather is gone, then they're not going to be doing it. It'll be the actual cost. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Anybody? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And one other thing, guys, don't forget Valentine's Day. I was reminded of that today. So,
Thank you, Russ.
sure.
Anyone else? Then we'll move on to the solicitor's report.
I have nothing that's not on the agenda.
Okay. Emergency management coordinator?
I really don't have anything.
Nothing. Okay, Jim. The fire company, Darren?
I hope the rest of the year goes the way January's gone. We only ran 4 calls in the month of January, so thank you for the whole community for being safe. 3 of those were in Gregg Township, one of those for a mutual aid call when the turkey barn was on fire up in Center Hall. I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors for approving our bingo and having it here. The bingo that we had in January was a huge success. We had 58 people show up to play bingo, the biggest one we've had. So it's great to be able to use the kitchen and the gymnasium for social distancing. Again, thank you. We have another one coming up on Friday, this coming Friday. We just completed a hoagie sale to help with some fundraising. We sold 660 hoagies. We were over there from late morning until about 5:30 tonight, so thank you for everybody who bought. Thank you for your help. Township guys. You guys are awesome for plowing. Takes a huge burden off of our shoulders to try and make sure that the fire company is plowed out so that we can get out in case there's any emergencies. You guys do an awesome job. To the township people, the hydrants have been shoveled out for the most part. We cleared them back a little bit, but we really didn't have to do a lot of work. What we do is every Monday night we go around town and make sure that the hydrants are all cleared out because we do have to access the hydrants. Grant-wise, DCNR grant is coming up. It's going to be due the middle of March, and we're going to apply for that. We can apply for around $5,000 for that grant to help us with forestry resources, for hoses or rakes or equipment for our forestry truck. And also, we completed the state grant. It was due, the application was due the middle of January. We completed it. We could apply for up to $15,000 worth of state money to buy equipment with. So what we had to do is we had to compile a list of what we wanted submitted to the state, and then the state gives us what they think that we need. So that's where we're at. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Hearing none?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The Oak Ridge School Advisory Board report.
Jim Smith from the Oak Ridge School Advisory Report. At our last meeting, about the only thing we had to, we wanted April 17th, we want to do the Gregg Township Spring Fling, 10 to 4. That'll be out here in the parking lot. Also, we want to close a section of the road out here like we did the other year. Yeah.
Did you say 10 to 4?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And we just need the approval to do that.
Could I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion to give them the approval, to close that section of it.
I'll second the motion.
Have it, motion made and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. The Physical Plant Manager's report.
Yeah, I've been working on the budgets that go with the leases. With all the rooms moving around and everything, it just needs a little tweaking, so I've been working on that. Also, we have emergency exit plans for all the rooms here that I'm drawing up, and you'll start to see those hanging up in the rooms in the next few weeks.
Very important to have.
Yes, that's all I have.
Okay, Operations Manager?
I'm working with a couple different things. The 4-H program is a dying program that these kids, we're losing a lot of our farmers, so we want to make sure that we, help these kids out. With that said, the program does not have the funds to pay for their room to be able to meet. So some of the area businesses, and we're hoping to get more to hop on there to help pay for the meeting rooms for them to come here. Not only is it helping the 4-H, it is helping the Oak Ridge School with it being in a deficit of almost $40,000 this year. That will be a huge help. So we're looking at a help throughout the community. It's not just one person, but keeping everything moving. So with that being said, the area businesses that have helped already, I know the kids are working on thank yous and putting some things in the paper too. Huge thank you for them. should have a report.
Are you,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry, here it is. I'm sorry. Gregg Township was issued 2 permits to date, agency-wide. They issued 21 building permits. There was no activity reported to date in Gregg Township. Should you have any questions, feel free to contact their office, Christine Stitzer.
And when,
That's also, we received that from Mike as well, those things.
And what are these? Report of building or zoning permits issued for new privately owned housing units. I know what this is for.
Those permits he's working on. He just wanted you guys to be aware of them.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, they're attachments for permits, okay. Good. Emergency medical services.
At this point, everything's still as it had been. We were supposed to have a meeting last night due to the weather. They canceled, so if everything goes right, it'll be back up next month.
They won't meet between.
No.
Okay. All right. Regional Planning Commission,
Penns Valley Regional Planning Commission will meet on March 23rd at 7 p.m. in this room.
March
Be
23rd.
talking about emergency services.
And the Penn Valley Regional, well, that was you, David, I'm sorry. The Planning Commission,
Planning Commission did not meet this month.
now we do have, am I correct, with the Lewis Peachy?
Yes, we need to have a motion because that was already before us before. We need to sign the 4A sewage planning
Is it the
module.
sewage,
Yes.
the sewage plant? Okay.
There's a small portion in Gregg Township, but it has nothing to do with sewage, so.
Okay.
Am I right, David?
this is the one where part of the property is in Gregg Township, but the sewage is in,
Miles,
Miles.
right, is not in Gregg Township.
okay,
But because part of the property is in Gregg, you need to sign the component
as well.
for a module, but as I say, there's no sewage in Gregg Township.
Okay, so it's just a formality.
Yeah, I need a motion
We
for
need a
that.
motion to approve and sign component 4A planning module, Lewis Peachy.
I will make that motion.
Second here.
I have a motion and seconded, those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And of the tri-municipal park, tell us what's happening there.
Yeah, the Tri-Municipal Park has had both playing fields fertilized, so they'll be ready this fall, actually this spring, if COVID dies down enough that people can play. The fields will be used for children's soccer and football. Also, we have a vacancy on the Tri-Municipal Park Board, and I'd like to make the motion this evening that we appoint Brent Corman to replace that vacancy. The vacancy is for Eric Husser, who represented Gregg Township. I talked to Brent Corman. He's very interested in doing this. He has a son in Cub Scouts. He's an IT person at Penn State, and I think he could bring some good skills to the board. So I recommend we appoint Brent Corman.
Have you accepted the resignation of the prior clerk?
Yes.
Okay.
That was back in reorganization meeting.
So we need a motion to do that.
Yes.
Will you make that motion?
I make the motion we appoint Brent Corman to the Tri-Municipal Park Board.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, those in favor?
I do have a question. Do you know what the bylaws for the Tri-Municipal Park say about vacancy rate?
About what?
Is he finishing the existing term, or is it just until?
Oh, it's for a one-year term.
It's just
Yeah,
1 year?
Yeah,
term?
and Eric
Okay.
served a year.
Very good.
Okay.
So this would be for the rest of this year?
Or he has
Well, no,
finished
she
the year?
resigned at the end of 2020.
Oh,
So
okay.
it'd be, yeah, well, for the rest of
It
the
is.
year.
This will be through 2021.
Yeah, through 2021. Yeah.
The motion should probably reflect that.
Okay,
Yes.
point Brent
Calendar
Corman
year.
through 12/31,
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Secretary Treasurer's report.
You have to water and sewer.
We need a motion to,
You need to water and sewer first.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I did that. Anyone here from Water and Sewer? Okay, hearing nothing. Then we'll move on to the Secretary Treasurer's report. We need a motion to approve the January 4th, 2021 Board of Supervisors reorganizational meeting minutes.
I'll make the
I think you have
motion.
those in front of us, right?
Yeah.
I'll second.
We have a motion and it's been seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And now we need a motion to accept and approve the all funds financial report. You've got a chance to look over that.
I will make that motion.
Second here.
Motion has been made and seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now we need a motion to appoint Baker Tilly as the township's CPA.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Anything on the right to know officers report? No? Okay. Roadmasters report.
Well, lately we've plowed snow and trimmed trees. That's pretty well it.
A lot of hours.
A little bit. I don't really have anything else other than that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Then we have the unfinished business, Rid Mandamus, Michelle Grove versus Greg Township and Kerry Miller. Nothing new there. COVID-19 preventative measures, they remain the same. And then we move on to the Penns Cave Road turnback.
Can we present that?
Sure.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Randy Albert. I'm with PennDOT in Clearfield, Pennsylvania. We've been talking about the turnback of a portion of section SR 2012, Penns Cave Road to the township for a number of years. And we wanted to present another proposal for you to consider tonight. We have a continued interest in turning back that portion of road from Ridge Road to where the new Sarah Campbell Road is constructed. A couple of reasons for that. We feel we have a responsibility based on a letter we signed in 2017. That was partially for the grant for Sarah Campbell Road. We indicated we would pursue a turn back with the township for that section of road. So we're continuing to try to fulfill that responsibility. The other is something Mr. Schleiden alluded to. The turnback program as it exists is changing. PennDOT has made the decision to change it from what we call a cash grant program to a reimbursement only program. So in the cash grant scenario, we give a municipality a cash grant. We outline a number of things that we would expect to be done for that cash grant. And those can be done through a combination of ways. The municipality can do much of the work themselves and save money that way. And they can also contract out the work. And usually the bid prices for municipalities are better than what PennDOT bid prices are. So we use PennDOT bid prices for the offer to the municipality. Any money that would be left over at the end of the project would be rolled over into the municipality's liquid fuel account, and it could be used anywhere on any township roads in the municipality. The reimbursement program changes all that and changes it quite drastically. So in the reimbursement scenario, you would only get exactly what was spent to upgrade the road. So if we spent $500,000, you would only get $500,000. And then your only benefit to taking back the road would be the turnback payment, which in either scenario is $4,000 a mile. And in this case, it's about a mile. So it would be about $4,000 a year unless the legislators would change that. The $4,000 is set by legislation. But it was changed in the past, and we hope that it's going to be changed in the future. So just to review what we're talking about, as far as the turnback's concerned, as I said, we're talking about from Ridge Road to the newly constructed Sarah Campbell Lane. And some of the advantages we see and some of the things we have in the proposal would
we'd like to see the alignment with Sarah Campbell Lane changed. It actually swings in, and then there's an abrupt left onto Sarah Campbell Lane. We would provide for relocating to the road where it would swing out into the Penn's Cave property and make a smooth transition into the new Sarah Campbell Lane. It would redirect traffic to the improved intersection with 192 and Sarah Campbell Lane. That was a permitted intersection when Sarah Campbell Lane was built, meaning it meets all the current requirements for sight distance and safety. The current intersection with 192 does not meet that because it was built so long ago. And, there was no permit requirements back then when it was built. It would also eliminate the existing, some of the existing over vertical curves that are on the road. We provided for funding to take those out, excavate those down, and make it a safer system that way. Removal of trees and brush along the highway. It would improve drainage throughout the system. We provided for new drainage pipes on the entire road. And the area that's the low area before you get to Penn's Cave, subject to flooding on a regular basis, we provided for additional drainage and improvements to the roadway in there to hopefully eliminate the flooding that happens in there on a regular basis. It would also separate the traffic through Penn's Cave, separate the traffic with the visitors to Penn's Cave, plus all the people that attend the Antique Machinery and Equipment Show, myself being one of them. And it would give them the ability to control the roadway during those events. You could actually close the roadways and make it safer for the people doing those shows. So to move on just to the turnback proposal itself, we have a number of items listed there, and I'm not going to go through them. Each one has a dollar figure associated with it. And in this cash grant scenario, and this is one of the last projects that they're allowing my district to do as a cash grant turnback. When they changed the program, I asked for two of the projects that we had made previous proposals to still be considered for cash grants, and they accepted that for this one. So we're offering the township $1,223,255 as cash grant for the turnback of the portion of Penn's Cave Road. Any questions?
What is the right of way? How wide?
The right of way, if I have it on my sheet, right of way is 33 feet. It's a very old road up through there. No, it doesn't, and there's not many areas where you can cut the banks back. We did have the one area proposed for cutting the banks back, but we took that back out because they didn't think the property owner would allow us to do that. So it would only be in certain areas, and then trimming and cutting of brush and trees as we can. Any other questions?
I have another end.
Randy, on the portion that you asked us for, that was a 50-foot on Sarah Campbell. Were you not asking for 50 feet on that new one?
No, because it's a existing road that's been in place for years and years. And the 50-foot is a municipal ordinance. That's why it was required on Sarah Campbell.
Well, I thought because you were cutting basically a new road in that portion.
Right. You could do 50-foot for that section, if they would require it.
Well, that's what we approved.
That's what you approved, okay. So at the point where you came back in, it would be back down to a 33-foot right of way. Other questions, other comments? Okay, thank you.
Any discussions?
I'd like to thank Randy for his generous offer. Although, by entering into this agreement, within 15 to 20 years, we may need a tax increase to help maintain this road. And I say that because the 1.2 million would be used to reconfigure the road and bring it up to standard, and there might be some money left over from that. But when you get $4,000 a mile, figure over 20 years, that's $80,000. It takes $100,000 for just one layer of pavement on an asphalt road. So we're going to start to lose money on that in the 15 to 20 year time period. results in a tax increase for the people of Gregg Township. This, you won't see it right away, you won't see it in 5 years, you won't see it in 10 years, 15 years, you might start to see it 20 years for sure when that road needs repairs. So my recommendation would be that we don't do this, but right now it looks like a win-win situation for the township and Penn's Cave. Penn's Cave can now work with the road in front of that goes through the barns and the cave area with less traffic, and the citizens of Gregg Township and other citizens have access to 192 from the Penn's Cave Road, and they can use Sarah Campbell Lane for that. And Randy, I wanted to ask, why could you just not abandon the road through the Penn's Cave property, and Russ could do what he wanted to with it, and the people have access to 192 from Penn's Cave Road via Sarah Campbell Lane. It seems like a win-win situation for me, and I hate to take this responsibility on and cause a future tax increase off in the future.
Doug, are you saying with the current road,
Yes.
they would still have access to Sarah Campbell to continue on without doing a new road? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, here, you can go down Penn's
Yes.
Cave and
Yes.
take care of Sarah Campbell out there,
Yes,
and PennDOT could close this section of the road.
right.
And it just seems like we're already where we need to be without taking on this extra 1.2 miles of Penn's Cave Road.
Part of the problem is the intersection with Sarah Campbell. It's not conducive to turning there, turning around as far as winter maintenance is concerned. The other part of it is, we might talk about exploring putting a cul-de-sac in there or something like that. The other part of the problem is turn-back funds can only be accessed for roads that are turned back to municipalities. So any other funds we would talk about for improvements or changes to make it a little bit better would have to come out of PennDOT's regular budget. So it would compete against projects on Route 322, Interstate 80, SR 45, et cetera, and it's highly unlikely any of those funds would get diverted to that.
Yeah.
So this is the most accessible piece of money to be able to improve it, to a high degree, because what we're offering you is an improvement to a very high degree. And that's the only pot of money we can access to do that. And your synopsis of a 20-year scenario, yes, that's correct. But things don't remain static for 20 years either. I don't believe the turnback program is going to stay at $4,000 for the next 20 years. Now, that's a legislative thing. But, like I say, they've changed it in the past, and there's talk now about it being changed again. And your current liquid fuel payment is only about $3,200 a mile.
Yeah.
So you're getting $3,200 a mile, and you're maintaining roads with that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you maintain it with additional tax dollars, but in my experience, in my opinion, this is the best opportunity you have financially.
I agree, I think it is. But it is a future tax increase for the township. Not only does the one layer of paving cost more than the annual subsidy we get from liquid fuels, but we also have to plow it and salt it. That all takes time and money. I don't think it's a good deal for us.
Brandon, as roadmaster, plowing that road, the existing road, that,
Sarah Campbell, you mean?
right, and beyond it, as Randy was saying, that might be easier for the person plowing this road, is that what I
I
understood?
think he meant for them. They don't want to turn around, is what he,
For you?
Yeah, there's no
Okay.
easy place for us to
Then I
turn around.
just-
We're using bigger equipment and
I
Gotcha.
could turn a triangle around there.
right, well, some people do. Some of our people, and ultimately, I mean, we started this conversation a number of years ago. We wanted to turn back a bigger section of Penn's Cave Road, and we've reduced that over the years, and finally came down to this smaller section. So we would be interested in turning back the entire section from 45 to 192, but it
so we really didn't have any more skin in this game. I came here to really talk about what I thought was a benefit to the township. I don't know what our costs are going to be in 20 years from now, Penn's Cave, and by the way, the Penn's Cave Road will now be our responsibility, which is very costly and saves the taxpayers of the Commonwealth and the township who pay those taxes. But one thing that, when I was researching this, and Randy, you can straighten me out on this, but isn't there a codicil somewhere that if PennDOT decides that they do not want to maintain a particular road any longer, that they can just abandon the whole thing and turn it over to the municipality? I know the township did that on the old township road right through Penn's Cave down along the stream many years ago. Is that in there writing somewhere?
Yeah, there's 3 ways you can deal with roads. One is a vacation, where the road goes back to the property owner. 2 is an abandonment, where the road is given to the municipality. And 3 is the turnback program, where it's given to the municipality with improvements. But the abandonment process is what you're talking about. Yes, that does exist. And I'm trying to avoid any discussion of that in here. I'm trying to make it financially as beneficial as I can for the town.
And that's, Doug, that's the reason I came tonight, because my research showed that we don't know who is going to be in charge on the state level, and they may say to PennDOT, this is it. And then they're trying to cut these back all over the state. And if they decide to do that, then the township's going to have it, or even the township will abandon it. And so, I guess you could, I don't know that. But I do know that there'd be a lot of residents along there be pretty upset if in fact the state abandoned it and you had to take it. We, Great Township, had to take it. So that was one of the reasons I mentioned that little extra money there. And I know you can get some quotes. I know how hard we worked at the Sarah Campbell Road to get a good price on it. And there are people out there who will do it. And that money, talking to the other townships, in fact, Spring Township said they will not ever turn down a turnback because they actually invest those funds and they grow interest until they need it. So in the case of, let's say it's 100,000 left over, sounds to me it would be more than that. But if it's 100,000 left over, you invest it, it's going to grow over that period of time until you need to do it. We're doing the same thing with our wetlands project at Wildlife for Everyone right now, some grant money. So there's 2 sides of that. It's not an easy thing, and I respect that you're looking at it.
Yeah, we all know interest rates aren't so good now, and I hope they get better in the future. I don't think it's likely PennDOT will abandon that road. I just don't think they would do that. And if they abandon it, we'll have to take it over, but I don't think they'll do that. Any other
Any further
thoughts?
discussion
I have none.
from anyone? Yes.
What would be the impact, either way, on the emergency, the fire company or the ambulance service on what's going on?
I don't,
Does it impact the fire company, the ambulance service, or is it?
Be a better road.
It'd be much better and much easier on our equipment to go from point A to point B. Much quicker response.
Quicker response time?
And with, you get into abandonment of the road or not keeping the road up to standards, you can get into a lawsuit very quick if we can't respond quickly enough.
You're not gonna be able to go from 25 to 60 though.
No.
I mean,
well, I think it's important to keep that road out to 192, and we have that now. And I just can't see committing us 15, 20 years down the road to higher taxes. People are already concerned about taxes, and I don't think we should do it. you two chime in.
What would
or-
be the time frame for something like this to begin?
Timeframe is if you would decide tonight, which we would like to make a decision tonight. Takes time to get paperwork, it takes time to get that kind of funding set in place. Paperwork-wise and approval-wise, it's probably gonna take 3-4 months for approval. Once it's approved in Harrisburg, you have 2 years to do the work, and we sometimes extend that out to 3. And depending on if your forces are doing the work, that takes time, so. Yeah, but it's usually, the agreement says 2 years to do the work, but we can write in 3 years.
Do they have to make a decision tonight?
They don't have to. We've been talking about it for a long time. We don't want to extend it into months and months and months. If you don't make a decision tonight, we would like you to make a decision at the next meeting.
Who pays for the engineering fees and the design?
We provided money in the turnback for engineering fees and design and permitting.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have another month.
Essentially.
What's that gonna give you?
I don't know. So just giving you
And
that.
ultimately,
Sure
like I
another
said,
month.
we would like you to make it, we would like you to make a decision tonight, but if you need more time to discuss and talk about it, we would go one more month.
Well, I think we've discussed it several times.
And in fact, I had written down a little while ago, we had a brief executive session to discuss the purchase of property, i.e. the legal issues involved with the turnback, some of which we're talking about here. We forgot to make that announcement at the beginning, but I do want, for the record, that to be stated.
Any further discussions?
I have no,
Are we prepared to make our decision tonight?
I would say yes.
And you?
I think I'm,
Yeah. Okay. I would make the motion we not accept the turnback offer.
I can respect Russ's opinion as well as PennDOT's, but taking all the residents into consideration, I would have to agree with Doug and say I'd second that.
opposition.
Correct.
I have a motion to not go on with the turnback process. And I have a second. You ready to make a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next we have on the agenda the Atlantic Broadband. And Pam, I understand that,
David,
David
go
had this.
ahead.
Okay.
You want to take that?
I think we mentioned at last month's meeting, and we've mentioned previously, this Atlantic Broadband Agreement. After last month's meeting, we went back, I went back and forth to make some legal changes. Through our office and through other resources, we can poll and see what other municipalities have in terms of these cable agreements. There were some areas, primarily relating to customer satisfaction, that this agreement did not have previously. I've had some communications to get those, metrics and those standards into this contract. And there was another provision relating to indemnification. I wanted to be clear that if Atlantic Broadband's coming into Gregg Township to do cable, Atlantic Broadband is responsible for what happens. If a cable gets, into some sort of tangle with someone, or anything relating to the cable system should be on Atlantic Broadband. That was not, in my opinion, very clear before. But at this point, I think the agreement addresses all of my concerns. We talked about voice over IP. They did not agree to that. We were hoping to get voice over IP to this facility for free, and they said it's just logistically not possible. So that's the thing that is not in here, based, from what we discussed last month. But otherwise, I'm comfortable that it meets my,
with the folks from Atlantic Broadband?
Well, we're going back and forth. They are supplying the fire company with a modem. And we're gonna be saving, just for this building alone, for what they offered us, and offered us a discount to over $400
Per month.
per month.
Per month.
Has there been talk about the EMS building at all?
There has, but we were only allowed to have one extra. That's all the municipalities were allowed to have, was just one extra. I fought to get both, but nope, they wouldn't budge.
Can I ask what Atlantic Broadband is providing? Talking cable, TV, internet, what services?
Just for this building,
You're
they're
asking for the community-wide?
community-wise,
Yes.
they will be supplying internet, TV, a little bit of everything. So they do have their packages available online. I did ask that, so, because I knew somebody would ask me.
So whatever they are offering online, that's what will be available to Drake Township.
Yeah.
And not to all of them?
Yeah, not to
Not to all of it,
us.
no.
It's
It's
only,
really only the cluster that owns the 145.
yeah.
They're gonna go back as far as they can, as long as there's big clusters, but they said they can't go back. You know, if there's nothing there, it won't be profitable for them.
Before they can contract with homeowners, they need to contract with the township. In case it's not clear, this is not an exclusive contract. If Xfinity or whoever decides to come to Gregg Township, that can still happen. They may not want to if Atlantic Broadband still, or already has a footprint, but it's not, technically it's not exclusive.
So is this over the road or under the ground or?
Well, it depends on- Mostly on,
In the ground.
I think it's underground.
yeah,
It's brown.
Underground.
Well,
it depends on what.
well,
but most-
they're hanging on the telephone, they're hanging on the telephone poles now, on the West Penn lines. I would think it would be mostly above ground unless you're in a new development where the coax actually runs underground.
So we really don't know how they'll enter into Drake Township.
Right now, they're doing above ground. I've seen them running through Millheim and all of that. So it's all existing poles, I believe.
Is it service coming from the?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe they were right out here in Salem.
They were.
Yeah.
They're running it, you know, their business, they're running it as much as possible within existing rights of way. So on the main road, I would think it's gonna be underground, but certainly in town it'll,
It's been above ground.
It's above ground on the main road.
okay.
That's the strand they're running.
Yeah.
Oh. There was a question.
Yes.
What's the time frame for what? That I do not know.
They said this,
Yeah.
I heard a year, and I just,
Well, they're going, of the current project, but they're going to evaluate that and potentially expand more. They're trying to evaluate the business opportunity.
Well, didn't Francis give us an idea when they would have this in here?
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
I need a motion for that though.
What did you say, a month or so?
No.
We don't know.
Oh,
I
we
don't
don't
know.
know. Okay.
But I will need to entertain a motion to approve the Atlantic Broadband coming
Aye.
into Gregg Township.
I will make that motion.
Yeah, second here.
I have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I think that might be yours.
Earlier in the meeting, there was a motion to appoint Baker Tilly as the CPA.
Yes.
I think you should have a motion to direct Baker Tilly to perform the annual audit.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I
We need to
realize that.
correct that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just that they're going to be the CPA, but you
You're going to perform the audit. Okay, I'll make those changes.
I'll make the motion to have Baker Tilly directed to perform the annual.
2020,
Well,
2020.
right, Yeah,
2021, yes.
no, 2020.
2020.
2020, that's right,
Audit.
that's right.
I have a motion, seconded.
Second,
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, motion carried.
Okay.
All you have? Oh, wait, I lost my letter. I'm just going to make an announcement that I have to step down from supervisor. So I'm giving the folks my letter. So I've been here 6 months and it's been great. I'm not going away. But it's important, I need to do this right now. So I'll offer you my resignation.
Okay,
At
wish you
this
the best, I wish you weren't doing it.
I know you too.
Yeah. It's been nice for the short time it was.